I set a PR at my second 5K. In the July 4th race, my official time is 26:34:14, but my watch shows me that I ran the 5K in 25 minutes 59 seconds and that I actually ran 3.19 miles. A 5K is 3.1 miles. This is an issue of not running the tangents well. So, how did I still manage to PR, and in the heat at that? First, let's go back to the first 5K I ran, the Juneteenth Jubilee on June 16th, which I made a video about. I made some crucial mistakes in that race. It was a very hot day, easily 80s, or at least that's how it felt. I wore dark clothing, which was one of my mistakes. I went out way too fast in the 6 minute per mile range, which is not something I can normally do. And I didn't have enough water on me. Despite all that, I ran 26 minutes 58 seconds total. So what did I do differently to set a 5K PR in the heat on July 4th? Between that race on June 16th and my next one on July 4th, I set out to improve my time. One thing that I did was, with my speed work, I increased the amount of repetitions I did in one session. I went from about 6 400-meter repeats to 8 400-meter repeats and 2 800-meter repeats. And depending on the day, I ran an additional 2 to 5 slower miles. So on July 4th, race day, here's what I did differently. I wore a light top. In fact, even my sports bra was light. And I wore a white hat with a very open mesh.
By the way, I'm wearing a white hat today with mesh. Keep my hair cool and my head cool. And you notice a lighter top and light shorts. I don't know if the shorts mean as much, whether the color does, but I'm taking a tip from my friend Larry Rubama, who suggested at the 5K I did earlier in the week that I may have been cooler if I'd worn a light top.
Back to race day. I also took a 16-ounce bottle of water with me. Well, I should say that I took a 16-ounce bottle and I probably had about 12 ounces in it. And let me tell you, I believe that I drank almost all of that water during that run. It was important for me to have that available so I could get the hydration exactly when I needed it and not just rely on people passing out water bottles. I made sure when they said go that I was not running too fast. So let me back up. Okay, so the buzzer went, or whatever it was, I can't even remember. We had the sound, said that let us go, and I did make a mistake. I did the same thing I did before in the previous 5K. I looked down at my watch and I was doing in the 6 minute something range, and I immediately, within like just a couple of seconds, intentionally slowed myself down so that I saw my watch go from the 6 minute or so range to 8 minutes. I can't remember exactly, but it was definitely like maybe more like 8:20, 8:30, which was what I was aiming for. And so I did that, and I kept that pace, 8:20 for the first mile, and I think it was something like 8:19 for the second mile. Unfortunately, the third mile got out of control. That was an 8:35. So I actually was losing some ground. And then, however, in the very last, maybe about 2/10 of a mile, I gave it my all. My performance resulted in me placing 4th out of 41 women in my age division.
so what do I think my 5K time on July 4th means for the marathon? Well, I think what it means is that I definitely have the ability to run quite a bit faster with just a small amount of training tweaks. As far as a pace chart telling me that an 8:21, which is what I think I really ran that 5K in, would compute to, for instance, a sub-4 marathon. The comparison pace charts that I saw said that it would not. And so I've just decided, however, that I'm not even going to really take those kind of charts into account, because I ran a 4:13:25 marathon, and according to those charts, there's no reason in the world that I should have run that fast based on what my 5K times are. So I think there's so many variables. I ran these 5Ks in very high temperatures, I want to say high humidity, and the marathon that I ran I think it started like 46 degrees. It was a perfect day, and the temperature means a lot. So the reality is I don't have a 5K that I can really directly, that I've run under similar circumstances as a marathon and can do I think a better analysis. So my suspicion is that I ran 8:21 minutes per mile on average in what was in the 80s. They even said 91 degrees, depending on who you believe. And so if I can do that, then, I think I have a lot of promise for maybe running sub-4, but I still don't know if I'm going to go for that.
Let me tell you something. That race really hurt. I mean, what's going on in my mind when I'm out there is, first of all, just go, keep going, keep going, keep going. You see the finish line. Oh my gosh, but I have to tell you, it felt harder than running a marathon. And it's interesting to me because this is my genuine observation. And then as I watch more videos about people running 5Ks, I'm hearing more and more people say that they have the same experience, that they feel the same way about this race. It's not something to play around with. If you want to do well in a 5K, it's not something that you just go out and just decide to run one day and without much training. Not unless you're just extremely genetically gifted. It's something. And I've got a ways to go to master the 5K.